So I kind of made a fool of myself today with, not a fool. I kind of got over emotional. As, as I have gotten older, I've become less, I've been able to hide my feelings more than I used to. Like when I was in my 20s, I would cry. I would cry at the drop of a hat. Anything that's even slightly emotional, I would be crying, you know. So, and as I got older and I toughened up definitely being married to my ex-husband. So, in the recent past, I've been pretty good at hiding if I'm feeling really depressed inside. I'm still, I think I've become pretty good at it. But I've been bottling up emotions for 2 years basically about my divorce and stuff. I talk about it, I know, and I sound all, like calm and everything, but it's really inside, it really gets to you. And especially when you don't find someone else, and as time wears on, because in the beginning, soon after the divorce, you're not even wanting to find someone else. You're really kind of enjoying the freedom and the of being free, but it gets harder as time goes on. It starts to get depressing. You start to second guess, maybe I should have stuck out my marriage. And when you're not finding someone else, you're thinking maybe I was too intolerant, or I don't know. Well, that's what's happening to me, and obviously it's because I haven't found someone else, and my ex-husband has. So obviously that makes him look like the person who is normal, and I'm the one who nobody wants. But so what was my point? Oh, so, but anyway, for the most part, I don't cry at the drop of a hat anymore. I'll be 50 in a few years, and you learn to get a little bit tougher, and things do do get easier to deal with, so you don't hurt as much when things happen as you might have in the past. But anyway, but today, I guess I was feeling kind of lonely or whatever, and I'm on that new a different dating site I might have mentioned to some of you. And I'm really not even getting dates. Like, at least with the first website that I was on, I would get a few dates a week. They wouldn't lead to anything other than a first date, but I felt I was at least getting I paid money for that. At least I was getting dates. But this site I think it's a little more expensive. I guess I'll go ahead and say the names of the sites. I'll do like a review. The first site I was on for a year, I quit that in February. I ended my subscription. That was Match.com. But the site I'm on now is eHarmony. And it's definitely harder to get dates, at least for me. First of all, you can't do a free search. eHarmony does the search for you. You're not allowed to just freely search eHarmony for all the candidates. You enter your information, and eHarmony determines which candidates it will pick for you, which maybe on the one hand, maybe I'm not getting as many dates because the ones that they're sending to me are the quality ones that they feel that will work out. So, maybe I'm getting quality, not quantity. I don't know. Maybe that's how it's supposed to work. But I'm not getting, I have been on 2 dates. I've been on the site for maybe about a little over a month. And I've had 2 dates. So I don't know. Maybe on the one hand, like I said, the theory is that it's quality over quantity. But, and the 2 guys I met were nice guys, just like the guys I met on Match were decent, nice guys, but they just never called again. And I wasn't that crazy about any of them either, but but so we'll see. I'll give it time. I've already paid the subscription, so I'll give it time, and see what happens with that. But I don't know. The ones that they do present to me, also I'm finding are just so not attractive. I mean, maybe there were one or two that I kind of felt attractive and I wrote to, or sent a smile. On Match.com, you send a wink if you kind of like someone, but you don't really want to go all out and write to them. But on eHarmony, it's a smile. You send a smile. So I'm not pursuing the men as much as I did on Match. I would write to men because Match tells you also, if you want to meet someone, you've got to be open to being the one to make the first move. So I did what Match told me to do, and I would try to write to at least 5 people a week and all that. And it worked. I did get dates, and so. But I mean, whatever. But with eHarmony, I'm not taking the initiative as much. I've written to maybe 2 or 3 of the people on there, where you send 5 general questions. That's how you start the conversation. But they haven't, and none of the people that I wrote to first have responded to me. And maybe about 5 guys have taken the initiative and written to me, and 3 of them I just found to be so unattractive, like their pictures, because they have a few pictures. So I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. I'll say, okay, the first picture might just be a bad picture of him, but then you look at the second one and he's even worse, and the third one's even uglier than because he puts his best picture first. So I'm sorry, and I'm just thinking to myself, maybe they're looking at my picture and thinking the same thing. Because I mean, I might not think that I'm that unattractive, but, who knows what people are thinking. I'm trying to put up sort of okay pictures. Like I said, I try to put up realistic pictures of myself so that the guy doesn't get disappointed when he meets, if he wants to meet me, meets me in person. I want him to think I look like my pictures. So yeah, 3 of them I just couldn't. I said, oh my God, I just can't take it. They're just so ugly. I can't do it. I'm sorry for being so, superficial, but I couldn't do it. I just said, why? I mean, he's not in the remotest do I find him attractive? So why will I even give the guy any hopes, by responding to him and going out with him and still not wanting to be, anyway. But then the 2 of the ones that wrote to me I also didn't think were that attractive in the pictures, but I was like, they were a little less unattractive than the other 3. So I went out on a date with, after a little bit of correspondence back and forth, which is how it works on eHarmony. I ended up going out with him on a date, and the second guy, there really wasn't any kind of, just a nice guy. We, had breakfast. I usually suggest breakfast because it's in the morning. There's really no danger of getting, drinking, or because you don't drink liquor at breakfast usually, unless you go to a champagne brunch or something. But I usually pick a, relatively inexpensive restaurant. Maybe that's my wrong approach. That's the approach I've always been using. Go to like an IHOP or to a diner or something that's not too expensive. But maybe I should suggest something more expensive. I don't know. But then they'll think I'm a gold digger or something. So. And like I might have mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I've said it before to people, that the guys really have to put out a lot of cash because they're not always, but they usually want to pay. Even if you say, I'll go Dutch with you, most often on the first date, the guys feel that they should pay, especially if you're going to a cheap restaurant. So I'm thinking these guys are probably having to shell out all this money to try to meet girls, and and they're spending all this money, and I just kind of figure it must be hard for them. So that's why I also suggest kind of a reasonable place. But so the first guy I would have gone out with again, and he actually did write to me to go out, but when he found out I didn't have a car, maybe that turned him off after all, because he first suggested we meet somewhere after work one day for dinner. And he texted me, and so, I texted him back that sure, that would be great. And he said, okay, see you at such and such time. I think he said, let's meet at 6. So I said, okay. And then I remembered, well, I'm going to have to take the bus up there to where he had suggested we meet, so I better give it some more time. So I wrote back to him and said, can I get there a little later? I'll try to be there by 7 because I'm taking the bus. I don't want to lie to him, and I didn't want to get there really late and not have a reason. So he said, oh, sure, no problem. Or why don't I pick you up? Actually, he said, why don't I pick you up and we'll go somewhere, somewhere else. And I said, okay. I gave him my work address, everything. So it was pretty much set that he was going to pick me up after work and we were going to go somewhere. And then the day before we were supposed to do it, he texted me. No, he called. See, he was really polite, but he called and said, oh, I'm sorry, something came up. I won't be able to do it tomorrow. No, it was the same day, unfortunately, because it was raining that day. And I was so happy. I said, thank goodness I'm getting picked up after work. But it turned out he canceled. So I had to go home in the rain. But that's different. I mean, it's not his fault. But he said, I'll call you later. So, after he canceled on me, said something really important came up. I won't be able to make it. I said, okay, well, I understand, whatever. But he did say he would call me later. And that was the end of that. That was 2 weeks ago. So I guess I could stop waiting for the call. And then, so that was one of the guys, and who I could see that he might have grown on me if we would have continued seeing each other, even though I wasn't crazy about him at first. But anyway, that didn't work out. So, and then the second guy, I really didn't feel anything much, and he never called again either. So, but I don't know, maybe I need to write to more men, or maybe I need to write to the ones that I think are unattractive, because maybe if I meet them in person, they won't be as ugly as in their pictures. I don't know. And I read the profiles too. I mean, I'm not only going for looks, because obviously we're all not spring chickens anymore. So I don't expect, that I look so great as I did, 20 years ago either. So, but, I don't know. I just think that you have to have at least some, a little bit of attraction to the person. I mean, how could I possibly, because I don't know, but maybe I should meet them in person. Maybe they're just not really photogenic, or they're nervous before the picture or something. So we'll see what happens with that. But eHarmony's really not, I don't know if I can cancel, because I think you pay and you can't cancel. I mean, maybe if I really push it and really get assertive with the company, which is hard to do because there's never a phone number to call. You got to do everything online. So I'm probably stuck with my subscription, and I signed up for a year because it was cheaper per of all the options. It ended up being cheaper for the time. So that, whatever. It's not that expensive for a year. It's, it's a reasonable price for a whole year. But if I'm not even getting dates, it's like, it's wasting it because I'm not even getting any dates. So I did that. But then also another thing I did today, I joined a bowling league. It's a co-ed bowling league, because I really do need to force myself to get out. I know I'm repeating myself like from previous videos, but I'm not a going out type. But I really just have to force myself. I like bowling a lot. I'm not good at it, but when I have gone bowling, and I went bowling recently, and I really enjoyed myself. I went with a person that I met, a girl. It was a woman that I met, because I'm trying to make girlfriends too. Because this particular woman that I met, I thought was interesting. I'm kind of selective maybe about girlfriends too. And so, and I I had signed up with a group of women who go out to happy hours together, which occasionally I do like a happy hour, but that's all these women are doing. They're going to happy hours or to, you know, and it also gets expensive to go to happy hours, and then you maybe go out to dinner to a restaurant. It can get kind of pricey. And that's my problem. Yet when that guy canceled, that's what I'm thinking. When he ended up canceling on me, maybe it was because I didn't have a car, and he's like, oh my gosh, this woman doesn't have any money, and I don't know. I mean, it goes both ways. Women are sometimes superficial and they want a man who's got a little money to spend on them. And maybe men are that way too, especially at my age. You expect a woman my age to at least have, her own home, her own, even if she's renting. I'm not even renting my own home because I can't afford it. I mean, I can afford it in a really bad part of town, but I can't. I'm a lightweight. I cannot. I mean, I have my parents, so if I have to choose between living in a really bad part of town or living with my parents, I'm not an independent-minded person. I'd rather live with my parents. I'd rather not do either. I'd rather live in a decent part of town in my own apartment. But, I know there are women that are much more independent than me, and they would rather live in a bad part of town and do anything but belittle themselves by having to move back in with their parents. But I'm a scaredy cat. I'm not used to it. I've always lived in sort of nice, decent parts of town. I'm not saying I live in, Beverly Hills or anything, and I'm scared of living in a bad part of town. I'm thinking, after work I go home, I could get attacked or who knows. I'm just not. I'm pretty daring in other parts of my life. I go out and I do things that that I go out of my comfort zone. But living in a bad part of town is not one of the things that I'm willing to go out of my comfort zone in. I mean, unless I were absolutely forced. I mean, if I didn't have my parents, I didn't have my brother. Because if I didn't live with my parents, I'd probably be living in my brother's house in his basement. If I didn't have anyone, okay, next step would be get a roommate, maybe, and live in a sort of okay part of town, but splitting it with a roommate, which is not the nicest situation either, because I don't know. So maybe that would be, if I didn't have my parents or my brother, I guess I wouldn't have any choice. I would probably try to find a female roommate or a gay male roommate and live in a sort of okay part of town. And then, but I mean, living in a bad part of town would be my most ultimate last choice, But, other people would say, well, nothing's better than having my own place, which I would love to have, because I'm getting really depressed because I want to have a cat. I want to have a little pet to love. And my father won't let me. My little dog just died 3 months ago. And it's getting even more painful than it was when it first happened. I'm about to cry now again. I've been crying all day because I was missing him so much. I'm not going to cry now because I'm a big girl. I was telling you how I'm so tough now and I don't cry. But the death of my little dog has just really broken me. It's really broken my... I was getting through the divorce. I was, all that was painful, but I was getting through it. And this was like the last straw that broke the camel's back. I says, I can't stay strong anymore. I broke down and I started just bawling today because I'm missing. I'm not going to, if I start bawling, I'm going to edit this part out of the video. And I went to my father. I said, Daddy, I'm so lonely. I'm so depressed. I need to have a little pet or something. I need to love something. And he said, no, I'm sorry. And he's right. It's his house, and I have to respect what they want. And so I understand that I'm not mad at my father for doing that, but I just, I'm just so, oh. And I wrote to, I found some of my exes. I know. I had one boyfriend, really one real boyfriend that I've really only ever had. That's it was 8 months, that relationship. So I found him today. I've been thinking about him. I've always thought about him ever since we broke up. He never kind of left my mind. I mean, we broke up and it was kind of a immature argument breakup. It wasn't even a breakup over anything big. But at the time, I was very immature when we broke up. And I realize now what a really good catch he was. But it took a really bad man, my marriage, to make me realize what a good man he was. But anyway, so is life. Such is life. So, it's been 2 years since my divorce. I'm safely ready for finding a new relationship. And I figured, well, why don't I, try to kind of look him up. I'd looked him up a few years ago when I was still married. And I was sort of thinking, wow, he really was a nice guy after all, now that I've had this horrible husband. But horribly misyoked husband is what I should say. We were not equally yoked, is a good way to put it. I want to stay out of the, he was a horrible man and I was right and he was wrong, because that's immature. I want to be mature and say, well, he was not right for me. I was not right for him. But, the other guy that I looked up today was right for me. If I would have been as mature back then when I was with him as I am now, in order to appreciate what a good man he was. But so anyway, I looked him up. And I found him. And I had looked him up a few years ago, like I mentioned, and he basically told me, I'm not interested in having any kind of friendship with you. Because I found him on Facebook. And he was nice to me. He was polite, respectful and all. But he basically let me know that, that's over. It's in the past. I don't hold any harsh feelings against you. But I just don't really see that there's any reason to, be friends again or anything. Let's just let sleeping dogs lie, basically what he told me. So I was a teeny bit hurt, but whatever. I mean, I said, what can I do? So I looked him up again today. I found him on another social network because on Facebook, actually, maybe he blocked me or something after that. So for some reason, I searched for him on Facebook. I couldn't find him. But I found him on LinkedIn, and I said, I hesitated. I said, should I write to him? I mean, he did let me know a few years ago that he kind of wasn't interested, but at that time I was married, and I had told him I'm married, etc. I acted as if I was happily married and all. I didn't let on that I was already starting to have problems, but so I was hesitating. I wasn't sure. And finally I said, well, what the heck? I'm just going to write to him. I'm just going to say I've been, I didn't want to get too sappy, but basically let him know that I always think of him, because I do. I mean, not every single day, but I do often think about how I didn't appreciate him and all this stuff. And so I wrote him a short note, like, well, hey, what's up? I would please like to connect with you again. I'm sorry for what I did, because I did do something kind of mean to him back then, because I was immature. And, I'd like it if we could connect again and whatever, just catch up, or, a really short note, something like that. And I sent the request for the connection, figuring, well, he'll probably ignore it or whatever, but it was worth a try. I wonder if I mentioned in the first one that I was divorced. I think I might have mentioned that I was divorced, So, and I, sent that. Then I was bawling, crying about my dog and all this stuff the whole day. I had a little bit, I was kind of depressed today the whole day. So anyway, a few hours later, I got the message that he had accepted my request. So I was, I was happy. I always get a little spark of hope. Well, maybe, maybe I could try to rekindle the thing and at friends at first, and maybe slowly we could grow again into something else, and not thinking that it was necessarily a realistic hope, but, you know, but, and so then I wrote to him again. I said, oh, because he just accepted the connection. He didn't actually write to me. And so I waited an hour or so it wouldn't seem so. And then I wrote to him and I said, well, um, basically that I continued to think of him, and I realized what a good person he was, and I'm it's too bad that I didn't appreciate him, and that if he would give me his number, I'd like to call him and catch up on things and just whatever, shoot the breeze. And I also put, I assume maybe by now you may be married or be in a relationship, so if you don't want me to call, I'll understand. But it would be nice to talk to you. So, a little bit later, he wrote to me and said, yes, I mean, of just my luck, of course. He is married. He's just had a baby a few months ago, so, But we talked, I mean, we emailed back and forth. And, yeah, basically saying he doesn't know, the calling part. It wasn't, he said he didn't say it would be any problem with his wife or anything like that, but basically he's so busy. He's got the new baby. He's got some stepkids from his wife's previous marriage, and he's just really busy, so he doesn't really see that there would be a good time to just sit down and shoot the breeze with me. And then, and he sent me a link to see his baby online. He has a link to his baby, and he was just beautiful. I mean, babies, they're cute. So I got depressed again because, okay, I lost him, and I started crying, and and then I wrote to him, oh, your baby's so beautiful, I want to cry, and he's such a lucky baby, he has such a good father, and I started getting all sappy on him, and oh my God, and then I just let the floodworks by email. At least, thank goodness, he couldn't see me crying, but I just let out all the emotions I was feeling about how sorry I was that I didn't appreciate him, and now I've lost him forever because he's married and has a baby, and I'm very happy for him, but at the same time I'm dismayed at my bad luck, and now I feel stupid because I sent all those emails. Oh, whatever. Oh God, I'm a mess today. I'm just such a mess. I know a few days will pass and I'll feel better, but oh gosh, I wrote all those emails. He's probably showing his wife, and they're both laughing at me now, but whatever, it's done. I already did it. But and then I also linked on that other social network with another guy that I didn't ever date, but that we kind of liked each other, and he was already romantically involved with the woman who he ended up marrying. But I was thinking, well, maybe by now he's divorced. It's been almost 20 years. It was worth a try. So, and he said, hey, what's up? How are you? Just that was a more friendly thing. It wasn't, since we never had a relationship with that guy, it was, not as emotional for me. But yeah, he's still married. He's got 3 kids, so he's like out of the question. But I guess what I was doing today was like going back and trying to find the ones that got away to see if I could find one of them single. But no, of course, the good ones are married or gay. That old cliche saying, it's true. They're either married or they're gay. So that's what my day has consisted of. And what else? I'm starting a new assignment on Monday in another office. So that's only going to last a week, though, so then I'll have to find another assignment. And I really should just get my bum in gear and just really do an all-out effort campaign to find a steady job and stop with this temp stuff. But oh, I joined a bowling league today also on meetup.com, because I was mentioning how the happy hour thing with the girls, it wasn't really my thing. I still might hook up with the girls for happy hour occasionally, but I can't do it all the time. It gets expensive and it gets boring. Sometimes the music is loud, you can't even talk, and so I'm going to try to make some girlfriends, but and the bowling league is co-ed. But the problem is it's all like people 30 and under. There are like 2 people that are in their 50s. But I looked at all the people on the list, and you get on a team. You just pick a team that I picked one because I liked the name. They're called the Gutter Gang. I liked the name. It was kind of a catchy name. So I joined that team. And I guess I'll be meeting it's going to be a bowling league for the summer, so July through August. It's just 2 months every Sunday. So I figure I can do it. I'll just commit to every Sunday going bowling, and meet some people, and it's fun. It's exercise. You actually, because you do a lot of like kneeling when you bowl. Because last time I went bowling, my arm hurt the next day. First, I bowled three games for 2 people because the girl I went with got drunk. So she stopped playing like after her third. We were on the first game. She was completely plastered. She'd been drinking before we met. And then she got completely plastered. And after her third turn, she just kind of sat down and was like, "Yeah, you just play for me." And I had already paid for 3 games because I was really feeling like I wanted to bowl. But as it turned out, I should have only bought 2 games because I was bowling for 2 people for 3 games. That's a lot of bowl. I switched arms. I mean, I bowl with my right hand, with my right arm, but it was starting to hurt so much by the 3rd game and getting so tired that by the 2nd game, so by the 3rd game, I was using my left arm, because I just couldn't take it was just so much. The balls are heavy. I made a few strikes, but I mean, I was just really basically just trying to hurry up because to get my money's worth. Because we could have just left. I mean, she was so plastered. I was driving. Thank goodness my father had lent me the car, and I had not drunk anything. So I could have just left after my arm got tired and just dropped her off at her home and gone home. But I'm sort of a little bit. I guess when you are not well off, you really try to get your money's worth out of stuff. So I said, I paid for these 3 games. I am bowling 3 games. I don't care if I have to bowl for both of us. So by the end, I was bowling with my left arm. They were all going into the gutter, and it was just like I was just throwing the ball at the lane just to finish the game. It was just I should have just left. I mean, it was the same as it would have been the same if I would have just left after the 2nd game. Let me put this air conditioner on again. Oh my gosh. It was a girl that I'd met that I thought was sort of interesting, but whatever. She apparently has her own problems, and we went out twice, and both times she drank a lot. So I stopped hooking up with her, and she hasn't called me either, and so. But anyway, the bowling league, I assume people are going to be sober when they're bowling, and we'll all be taking turns, and I'll be able to meet people that way. So, oh, it's getting hot. I turn the air conditioner on because it gets so hot, but anyway, so hopefully that'll cheer me up, because I spend a lot of weekends just laying around all weekend and sulking and waiting for Monday so at least I can go to work. Which I like going to work. I I don't have a problem with temping and working in an office. That's one thing I kind of enjoy. I just wish I could get paid better, and temping just doesn't pay very well, which is why I got to find a real job. But anyway, let me turn this off, and I guess I'll stop rambling now. I don't want this to get too long. All right, so, well, thank you for anyone who sat through this entire ramble. I don't know how many people actually sit through the whole thing. I mean, I figure people listen to the beginning and then maybe after a few minutes click out. But those of you who do sit through my boring rambles, thank you. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.